Here's a small lineup of some used cars, but there's less and less of these every single day. With the increasing prices of brand new vehicles, even with some of the incentives, we're seeing an increased level of popularity for buyers seeking out late model used vehicles and avoid some of the hassles and the high expenses of the purchasing of brand new vehicles. I mean, you can get into a late model vehicle like this and it can cost fractions of the dollars of brand new. It also might include paint protection film, mats, floor mats, all of the extras, and yet you're doing it for fractions of the dollars of new. According to Cox Automotive, about 1.57 million units on the used car market were sold up to the month of February of 2025. That's about a 6% increase year over year, but that does translate to days supply. Days supply is dropping drastically. We saw 42 days supply at the beginning of March, which is down about 8 days supply from the beginning of February, a clear indication that the inventory is shrinking. And typically in tax season, you usually see January, February, a lot of people have a little extra money in their hands and they're ready to go out there and buy their new vehicle, new, used, late model used. And a lot of people are looking for value now. Obviously, with the cost of living crisis, more and more people are looking at quality late model used vehicles rather than buying brand new. And therefore, the late model quality products are going away. The inventory is shrinking. Sales have been much more aggressive here this year in 25 than they have been for quite some time. And a lot of it has to do with the high cost of new vehicles. Used is becoming much more popular. Even the certified pre-owned vehicles are going up in popularity, and more people are trying to get their hands on a quality used vehicle that the dealer can back, that has low mileage, no accident history, and that has all the benefits of buying brand new, but without paying new prices. The good news is there's some quality vehicles out there like Mazda, Lexus vehicles. Toyota has been hard to get, so if you're looking for something used, you're going to find Toyota's always going to be a good safe bet, and you can run these for lots of miles and not worry about reliability issues. See, but that's part of the issue. A lot of Toyota dealers are charging as much for their late model used vehicles as they are for brand new. The difference is you don't have to wait. You can walk up, I can throw the credit card down and buy this car today. But if you want to buy a brand new Toyota, the vast majority of models, you may have to wait for 2, 3, 4 months for some of them, and particularly some of the hybrid vehicles, you're having to wait even longer. And so in the last 4 to 5 years, some of the big heavy hitters were Jeep and Stellantis products jacking their prices up, and that's pushed a lot of people outside of that space, people looking for alternatives. Of course, even brands like Lexus and Toyota, we've seen their prices creep up as well. Almost every brand we've seen price creep as much as 25, 30, 35%, and in some cases as much as 40% depending on the brand. So brand new prices have gone up drastically, but we've seen wages for the average consumer go up about 22 to 27% in the last 5 years. So it clearly has not kept up. So people are looking for cost-effective ways to get into a market. They don't want to spend that $85,000. They don't want to spend that $60,000. Rather, they're looking for something a little more cost-effective. $30,000 seems to be the market. And we spoke of this last week, where more and more customers are looking to stay around that $20,000 to $30,000 range. And now some of the manufacturers are trying to start producing vehicles. We saw Ford, we talk about Ram, may have affordable $1,500 or a 1500 Ram that may be in that $30,000 range. A lot of manufacturers are starting to target $30,000 because that's a sweet spot. So if that's where the customers have to be with their budgets and the cost of living, well, where do you think that puts them? Either the manufacturers have to get up to speed and start producing more cost-effective vehicles on the new market, or more and more customers are looking at late model used, because these offer some benefits. Late model, you get low mileage. Sometimes you get certified pre-owned warranties. Sometimes you have just all the style and modern technology, but without having to spend the full beans. I mean, look at a vehicle like this. You could probably save yourself $30,000, $40,000 over the course of 3 years just by buying it a couple years used. Here, Toyotas, you can save some money there, but honestly, 2 to 3 years old, you're probably going to pay as much as you will for brand new. Hyundai's, absolutely, depreciation crushes them into oblivion. Toyota, see, this is the Toyota product. Now, this is the older generation Tacoma. These are holding their value. So you're going to have to go 5 to 10 years older to get good deal, because more people are backdating. Less people are buying the late model Tacoma because their 2.4 liter turbo engines are having some issues, but more specifically their gearbox, their 8-speed auto, is having problems. Toyotas, again, a lot of people trust them. They don't mind buying a 5 or 10-year-old Toyota because they'll know they'll get the reliability out of it. Mazda, there's some good deals right now, and Mazda's really trying to incentivize the new car products. So buying used, sometimes it's hard to find good used ones because they're quality vehicles too. Mercedes-Benz, you're definitely worth buying late model used. A lot of these vehicles depreciate. These luxury brands depreciate like a rock in water. They just don't hold their value. But see, as we're seeing less and less of this day's supply inventory and more of these products actually hitting the consumer's hands, what you're starting to find is supply and demand is kicking in fast and furious. With all that downward pressure from high prices on new vehicles, that leaves a lot of the quality late model product like this ready to scoop up. Well, consumers comes along, and because there's less inventory on the used car market, they're likely going to overpay or pay more because there's not a lot behind it. And the dealers know that. The dealers know that they're going to have to charge as much as they possibly can for some of those late model used vehicles because they don't have the inventory. The day's supply is dropping. Consumers are showing heavy interest in late model used vehicles, and therefore they're holding prices. That's all that's going to do is continue to driving used car prices up, continue pushing the consumer down into a lower level of used vehicle. What you're having today are the late model used are now costing as much as brand new was about 5 years ago. Clearly prices have all tiered up and it's getting unaffordable. This used market is one that we really have to be paying attention to, and I'm going to be updating you as the next weeks and months go on because it's shifting and it's changing, it's evolving. The part of the reason as well we don't see the inventory on the used market is because 3 or 4 years back we start thinking about what was happening in the lease market. The leases were not taken out because customers were not leasing vehicles because the high interest rates that jumped up back around 2022, and as a result less leases hit the market. When they come back 2 or 3 years later, that lag effect, those cars just never were there. We didn't see them in the auction houses, we didn't see them on the dealers' lots, and therefore there's literally less inventory. That naturally creates lower volumes and again a higher demand. So as we start to see affordability on a lot of late model vehicles go down because the prices are going up, more people are electing to go even older. 5 or 10-year-old vehicles. We look at this little Tiguan. This is so far removed from brand new model, but people are having to start to resort to buying the older vehicles like this, and there's a few more of these parking around on the lot. Or Dodge products like this. Even these are starting to pile up on the lot. We're seeing more and more of these vehicles because dealers are starting to reach out to try to get a hold of anything that they can just to have inventory on the lot. That means you're going to start paying that. You're going to start paying more for those vehicles. Once the dealers get their hands on a lot of these older used vehicles, that usually means that they're going to start putting on their extra fees, all their admin fees, their reconditioning fees, and they're going to try to sell you on some extras, a little extended warranty. And that just means a phrase that I like to call, you put a little lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. So, I mean, even this vehicle here, this older BMW, it's a 2018 already, it's got significant mileage on it. So this vehicle here is already 7 years old. And there was a time when you would never see a 7, 8, 9-year-old vehicle on a late model franchise car dealer. Franchise dealers typically like the late model vehicles, 2 to 3 years old max. But now, because of the low inventory in the late models, you're seeing more and more dealers picking up some of those older vehicles. Sure, they might have decent miles, they might be in good shape and no accident history, and they're fine with parking a 10-year-old vehicle on the lot. We're seeing more and more and more of this all the time, and that's a clear indication that the inventory's low and you're probably going to be paying more for your next used car as well as your new car. And in thinking you were likely going to get a deal, you might have to think again, keep on shopping. So there's a slow shift to buying older used vehicles, and here's an example of my old Ram. And the reason I buy this and own this, and the reason I own this is because it's bought and paid for. And there's this shift in this attitude. While the banks can provide you with as much money as you want to buy your next vehicle, a lot of people are deciding just to drive an older vehicle. It's cheaper, it's easier to maintain, it's likely lower insurance costs, and these kind of vehicles just make a lot of sense to keep these on the road, keep them running as long as possible. No car loans, it's easy to fix, as well as insurance is often lower. What do you think? Is the used car market the market you want to jump in, or you just want to avoid all the hassle, go straight to new, you get warranty and the shiny new paint? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. And again, as always, please do Please do sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.